Good morning, everyone. We're here at Go Forest, resuming our Saturday chant class for the U.S. I just came back from Korea. Was there for about 4 weeks. I can give you a quick report tomorrow morning when we do our Pureland Dharma assembly. But I'm very glad to be back, and it's nice to see all of you again. The one thing, I don't know what to talk about, the one thing that stands out in my quick report, one observation to share with you, is that the Koreans are catching up with us. They don't lag that much behind us anymore. It used to be the case where I would go there and have to tone down myself and be more conservative, because there's so much they can take from the American stuff. But they have been working hard. What's interesting about them is that they're very hardworking. They've been keeping up with us, and you work hard. When you practice Chan, you work hard, you will make progress. Okay, It's about how hard you work and how much you apply yourself. Whether people who've been doing it for 20 years ahead of you, 30 years ahead of you, you can still bypass them. And that's American way. Anyone can make progress because what we teach you is certain teaching, more so than my Chinese master thichvinhhoausa. He's more on the gradual side of the teaching of Chan, of Weiyang Chan. Well, what we do is more on the certain side of the training. Okay? And the one thing that you can describe them in over there is that one word: quiet. Very quiet. The Westerners are loud. We're loud, aren't we? We like to draw attention ourselves. Over there, it's just the opposite. They're very quiet, subdued, and that's, by the way, that's the Asian culture. It's based on wisdom. When you have wisdom, naturally you become more quiet and more content, happier inside of yourself. Okay, and I think I come back here, I hear words like recently, quiet luxury. Quiet, but it has to be luxury. So you want to quietly draw attention to yourself. Okay, finally the Westerners are catching on. Because when you're loud, it takes a lot of energy. You waste a lot of energy. Okay, whereas when you have wisdom, you want to conserve it and only use it when necessary to do things that matter, not just draw attention to yourself. And then what? More attention to yourself? And then what? And so here we heard, I remember words like quiet luxury, but if you practice Chan, you understand Chan, you have some results, good results in Chan, then you will begin to appreciate the quietude, the quiet strength, the quiet self-assurance. What else? What are the quiet things? Hello, you're becoming more quiet recently too. See, so quiet, I can't even think of a word. Yeah?
Sorry, I can't think of anything, Master.
Okay, I'll rest my case, okay? And that's success right there. And you're so quiet. Nothing comes to mind. All right? And that's the results of the Chan practice. You discover yourself. The quiet happiness inside of you. Okay, you don't need anything. The happiness, the joy arises inside of you. Oh. All right, and so the Chan practice begins when you discover this thing of state of concentration, that if you're a beginner, you're new to Chan, new to meditation, anyone who practices meditation, whether it's Buddhist meditation, whether it's Chan, Zen, or what is it they have called it out there, mindfulness meditation, or whatever, and you're practicing and you're learning from even non-Buddhist stuff, Tibetan stuff, you will eventually enter first dhyana, the dhyanas or samadhis, the state of concentration in the spiritual practices. That's when this quiet joy wells up inside of you. You feel so full, you feel so complete, and more complete within yourself. Okay, and we get to a high degree. That's why we look into this song enlightenment by great master Yungjia, who is the seventh patriarch in the Chinese Chan, and he became enlightened. Saw great master sixth patriarch, Master Huineng, who certified him to be enlightened. He came back and shared with us his experience. So it's the first time in the Chinese literature where an enlightened master talked about the state of enlightenment. Okay? The interesting thing that you should always remember when you talk about enlightenment is that they never claim that they're enlightened. Rarely do they claim they're enlightened at all. Okay? And so for him to talk about enlightenment is something, it's his personal state. I notice in some places he actually exaggerates a little bit boastful, which is not that Chinese. Okay, and the true Chinese, they're not boastful at all, unlike Spanish people. Oh. Thank you very much. Okay, and so, but let's go through this, and please feel free to ask any questions about anything that you're curious about. Okay. All right, we're on slide 113. Continuing, you learn things by bits and pieces. It's not in Buddhist learning. It's never a big dissertation or big thesis, PhD thesis type of thing. Wisdom is digested by bits and morsels. Right? Yes, DTT has a question.
Master, welcome back.
Thank you.
I saw a picture of you sitting on a wheelchair a few days ago, and I was very happily informed that was just a joke because I was sleepy. I saw that picture. I instantly woke up.
I'm so sorry. We joke around a lot. There's no wisdom in there. We just have fun.
I'm glad that's just a joke.
Thank you
I
for
have
your
a question
concern.
From last week's teaching from Korea. You were teaching us that when we make an offering, it's better to not just wish for worldly blessings, but also like transcendental blessings. I'm just wondering, is that okay not to ask for any blessings? Just make an offering out of gratitude and willingness to help. I know we talk a lot about blessings and the importance of blessings here. I personally sometimes feel a little uncomfortable when I'm doing things and thinking about blessings.
Okay.
Is that okay just not to think about it, or is that better to be clear about it?
It's so typical Western educated people. They need to spell out everything. So the Westerners, it's so typical. The Westerners walk into our temple, learning meditation, and say, teach me. I want to succeed. And then we explain to them that we are limited. There's so much we can do. In Buddhist training and Buddhist cultivation, there's a requisite where you need to have blessings before good things happen to you. Okay? Whereas the Westerners who walk, the Western educated people, and they walk into meditation, and I'm guilty of it. I walked in and said, teach me. Here I am, teach me. And they don't understand that the success in spiritual pursuits depends on the amount of blessings you have. So fundamentally in Buddhism, whether you practice Chan, whether you practice Pureland or Tantras or whatever you do in terms of spiritual practices, you need a foundation. The first foundation is what? Blessings. You need to have blessings. Okay? So that's what we try to stress to you. We're limited. We can teach you certain teaching. We can teach you the best training, share with you the best training techniques of the Wei Yang Chan lineage from China. And it's still, we can speak until we're blue in the face. You can listen to it, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But unless you have blessings, it doesn't register at all. We try to tell you things, or to explain to you things, give you directions, for example. That's why I love about my Chinese masters, Chan instructions. And I try to emulate that. That is, he's the only Chan master I notice, even among the Chinese Chan masters. Never mind about the current Chan teachers nowadays. I don't care where you came, where you learned it from, where you choose to go, whether it's in the East, in the West, Hinayana, mindfulness meditation, or Vipassana, whatever you call it. What is lacking compared to masteryonghua teaching is that his is so full of detailed instruction on what to do. And from a Western educated person like myself, I look Asian, but actually I'm very Western. Okay, that's why the confusion. Who am I? I ask myself constantly, am I Asian or am I? Yeah, but anyway, it's not about me. Okay, so the point here is that a Western educated person to myself, I demand, I expect clear instructions. Okay? And I expect to be able to ask questions. And when I ask questions, I expect answers, clear answers. Okay? And that's what bugs the heck out of me. And after my master died, and his students, when I asked questions, they never could give me a straight answer. Okay, And from a guy who went to schools here, you pay your tuition fees, you pay money to get in and sit down, meditate. I expect answers, okay? And so Master Hsuan is the only one I could find that, as a teacher, he gave very specific instructions on what to do and how to meditate. And that's what we're trying to do for you. And it's very helpful, okay, that you know exactly what to do, what to expect. So why is it important? Because it reduces the multitudes of questions of doubt that you have in your mind. Am I doing it right? You realize that in spite of my master's instructions, there are specific things such as, he said, cross your legs in full lotus, okay? And not surprisingly, each of his students, his illustrious students, accomplished students, many of them, some of them are high level than Master Yongjia here. Yongjia is 7th G, 7th ground Bodhisattva, okay? And he's a 7th patriarch. Master Hsuan is much higher than that, okay? And his students used to be higher than 7th. I don't know what happened to them nowadays. I don't pay attention to them anymore. But what did I want to say? Oh, instruction. Yeah.
You need lessons.
That too, yeah. Okay, where am I? I need to sit down. I'm sitting down. So these people, they fail to give you direct instructions. They said, each one of them, when I asked them, for example, how do I sit in full lotus? They gave me different styles of full lotus. So that's why, since my master died, and I said, "You dead? I'm going to leave you alone." Okay. Instead of his disciple, they would pray me, "Oh, please teach me. Please tell me what to do." I said, "Hey, the guy is dead. Come on, have some class. Leave dead people alone." But anyway, I never prayed to him to ask for instructions, by the way. Contrary to people in my generation, we say, "Oh, you have a problem? Pray to Master and ask for help." He's dead, man, already. So anyway, they would teach me very simple things like full lotus. How high are you supposed to put your legs? The young abbot at the City of 10,000 Buddhas, he sits full lotus in front. Okay, you see the photos of Master Hsuan, some of his photos are like that. And then other people would sit a little bit higher, legs are higher, and some are even higher and deeper like this. Okay, so I'm not lying to you, I spent 6-7 years sitting every single day and wondering, okay, at least a few times a day, am I doing it right? So you be amazed on how important it is in simple things like, just tell me what to do. Is this right or not? Okay, and if you don't even have that, you have a lot of doubts. You have a lot of questions that will arise when you meditate, and it's not very good for you. Okay, so anyway. Fundamentally, we want to remind you that it sounds like we're soliciting money and donations and so forth, but it has to be said. The reason the monks and nuns don't talk about blessings because these Asian people are afraid to be misunderstood. They're dropping hints at the donation box right there. That's a very good way for you to plant blessings. Get it? Okay? And so this is why the Asians are, especially all the Chan teachers, avoid talking about blessings. But unless you have blessings, you will have a hard time practicing Chan. And if you want to go very far, okay, where you get really high levels of skill levels, you have to have even more blessings. So that's why you want to plan more and more and more blessings. And that's called, the first thing that we teach our people in Buddhism is practice giving. Okay? Or the technical jargon is called giving paramita. You learn how to give and give and give. Okay? And this lady here who asked about blessings, okay, is now beginning to be taught about giving. That's why, typical of these Western educated people, they ask to go into more and more details. But I want to know more. Of course, we know, and we will not tell you unless you ask. Okay, so feel free to ask questions. Now, when you practice giving, okay, it's good you understand the importance of giving, but there's a certain the proper way of giving, okay, because you want to give in the spirit of trying to help. First of all, okay, it's not giving for the sake of just creating blessings for yourself. That's low level. Beginners, you have to tell them, okay, you need blessings, therefore you need to do things to create blessings. But fundamentally, in the Mahayana style, in American Mahayana style of practice, we practice helping others, finding ways to help others. Little help, big help, doesn't matter. If we have a chance to help others, we help others. That's a mindset. Okay, without thinking. You don't say, well, that's too trivial of a help. I'm going to let someone else do. I only do the big things. Okay, and that's what she's talking about. He says, okay, she still keeps on discriminating. Is this? Should I do this? When I do this, am I greedy or not? No. When you help. Okay, you help because there's a chance, there's an opportunity to help. And once you help, you don't even see it as helping. It should be automatic. Okay, you help because there's a chance, and once you're done helping, when you're done with it, you forget it. You don't even know what you did. You get to the point where you don't even know what you did, let alone ask me a question about it. Does it help? Okay, see? That's giving. Okay? It becomes automatic that you don't think about it anymore. Okay? And that's the best way to help. That's the best way to create blessings. You create blessings automatically. Okay? And finally, the concept of blessings there, okay, do not ever think it's enough. Don't ever say, have I done enough? Like your wife might ask you, okay, or your husband. It's never enough. Okay, the more, the higher you get up there, the more you realize it's just not enough. I need more and more and more, okay? And that's why you keep on doing it without thinking about it. And that's why it's called giving paramita. You keep on doing it and doing it endlessly. And that's how you free yourself from your ego, who's always calculating, is always measuring, always plotting. Okay? That's why the giving paramita is part of the foundation. Yes? Is there a question here, 7?
Yes, Master. You have a question on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It's from T.S. Geppetto. How deep does Master recommend we sit? The higher the legs, the better? Thank you.
It depends on which my student teaches you. But it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter how high or low or middle. You can go like very shallow, you can go middle, okay? Or you can go a little bit even higher, like the externalists, okay? The point being that when I first learned it, I followed the Master Shinhwa style, the photo on his many photos, okay? Even the Buddha statues, people said, look at the Buddha statues. That's how you sit in full lotus. But the Buddha statue, the posture is very shallow. When you do that and you sit in that style for about several hours, your ankle is bent a lot, okay? So for long sits, you stand up, and that's what happened to the young abbot. I don't know what happened to him anymore. He's still there or no? So he's an old abbot now. Okay? If you bend your legs like this because your posture is too shallow up here to the front, okay, then your ankle is bent twisted like this. So after several hours, 10 hours for sure, he would stand up and he couldn't walk. He for the first 3 steps, he would stumble a little. Okay? Because of this angle, it's bent too much. So if you sit for a long time, it's not a good idea to sit like this. Okay? Yeah. But if you want to have a good looking photo, by all means. Okay? So, and then the smart aleck disciple of his, and they said, okay, this is no good, okay? And then if you go all the way, okay, deep inside, like your legs touching your body, then the pressure is no longer the ankle, but the pressure now is in your knees, okay? Because your legs are twisted a lot more. So they decided, because they're so smart, they figured out you can have the middle way. So they would go halfway. Okay? And that works. That's fine. But if you sit and your practice is based on calculation, on, I try to avoid sitting this way, I try to avoid sitting that way, then there's a bias there. It's not good either. So that's why I prefer that I teach you to sit with your legs all the way in. Okay? It's difficult at first, okay? But it doesn't take long and you get used to it. And this is the best posture for you, I feel. Okay? But anything that in full lotus is pretty good enough already. Yes, 7.
Thank you, Master. Samson Lau has a question. Hi, Master. Welcome back. Typically, when I meditate, I will look at my dantian and recite the Buddha's name. Lately, I've been doubting if I should be doing both or just doing one or the other. What should I be doing? Thank you.
Pick one. Yeah. Whatever you pick works. Either one works, or both works. It doesn't matter. I was taught to look at the dandian, and that's why I started by teaching you, look at your navel area there. And then for years, I could not find anything there. I was promised you find something there. I said, so the funny thing with that is that when you do that, you tend to lean forward, and your head leans forward because your eyes are trying to look into your navel. So naturally, you tilt your head a little. And then on top of it, my Chinese master, Master Hsuan, says, your eyes contemplate the nose contemplate your mouth, the mouth contemplate your heart. So I said, my eyes and looking at my nose. And then I got stuck there because I was wondering, how does my nose look at my mouth? For many years, I couldn't figure it out. I said, what am I missing? And then in the end, I was so happy. One of his so-called expert in Chan, he proclaimed himself to be the expert in Chan practice because he was personally trained by Master Hsuan for 15 years. So he's got to know, okay? So he says, you should contemplate dandian, okay? And so you contemplate a navel. So I did that. And so for many years, I sat there. I couldn't feel anything. I would stick my pinky, I stick it in my navel physically, and then, okay, I remove it to look cool. I mean, it's not good for you to keep on going this all the time, right? So I removed my pinky, and then I sat, and for years, I couldn't find anything there. You don't know how much I struggle in this Chan practice. And finally, after I practiced for a while, Master Hsuan told me to start teaching. One of his externalist friend of ours, he came over and he says, I love looking at people dandian. Okay, so can I look at yours? I said, okay, why not? So he sat down, okay, crossed his legs in full lotus, mind you. Shallow style, okay? Them people don't do like this. They do like this. And you look at my dandian. And then I ask him, you see anything? He says, there's nothing there. No wonder I couldn't find it for years. You wouldn't believe the kind of struggle, what I had to struggle with. Now you ask me, I can give you all sorts of answers, you see? But at least you're getting answers. Any other questions? Okay. So Master Yongcha, going back to the song of enlightenment, Master Yongcha describes his state of enlightenment without saying, I've been there. Okay? So that's why we should be grateful for his documenting it, but I'm cautioning you, he exaggerates a little bit. He speaks about things he doesn't know. Okay, it's from books. Okay, when you teach about Chan, it should be from your experience, not from just what you read somewhere. You know, this is what happens. People read a lot of stuff. Especially lots of junk on the internet nowadays, and I think they understand Chan. Okay, it's not a good way. But anyway, 95% of his stuff is very, very good. Okay, so it's very worthwhile you go through it because in the West here we have so much junk about enlightenment, especially the so many people here in our era. Proclaim they're enlightened, and rule of thumb, anyone who claims they're enlightened, I can guarantee you that they're not. Enlightened people never say that they're enlightened unless they want money from you. Okay? So 113, this pearl of perfect brightness has form, yet has no form. Okay, commentary 114. The pearl of perfect brightness here refers to your inherent wisdom. After you become enlightened, you're able to unfold this wisdom you already have. Okay, your Buddha wisdom that you don't know how to use. Enlightened people now have a systematic way, have the skill to wield this wisdom. And any of us can develop that skill. And that skill become consistent, it becomes real for you, becomes useful to you after you're certified, after you reach level enlightenment, at which you can be certified by a good knowing advisor. All right? And when that happens, then you are able to have use of this pearl of perfect brightness. Pearl refers to something precious, a gem, okay? Perfect brightness means that this gem here is extremely bright, meaning it's an analogy that your wisdom is priceless and is so bright. And the wisdom is the nature of wisdom is to be able to shine a light, very bright light, on all your problems. Okay? So that you'll be able to see clearer, more accurately. Whereas ordinary people, they don't see as well. Case in point, okay? When it's dark, you can't see. That's the analogy. Darkness comes from our ignorance. When you're ignorant, then it's like you're living in the dark. You don't see as well. Okay? Whereas after you become enlightened, then you're able to have this inherent wisdom of yours that you can wield, you can use to shed, to shine this light of wisdom of yours on all your problems, which enables you to see clearer. All right? So that's why it's considered to be a gem, your wisdom. Has form and yet has no form. Okay? At this state of enlightenment here, it's not like we think. It's no longer dual. Dual is a concept where our life, our world is dual. It's built, it's stable because of two opposing forces. Okay? Men versus women, yin versus yang, Republican versus Democrats. Okay? So it's there. It's only stable because they're opposing forces. Force equals reaction, if you will. Okay? So that's why the world as we know it is dual. Okay? It comes in pairs. Okay? And after you become enlightened, then you transcend that duality. And you know what I'm talking about when you get there. Okay? So he's referring here, this is another confirmation that he knows he's talking about. Master Yongjia is not attached to form, and yet it's not attached to no form either. Okay? That's why it's called non-dual. All right? Don't worry about it. When you're there, you can learn more. 115. Purify the five eyes, attain the five power. No, purify the five roots. This is I'm sorry, I apologize for this. The 5 roots. Not the 5 eyes. Okay. Purify, how do you see the 5 eyes? Was it hallucination or what? It's just you too. Just 2 of us are kind of have hallucinations. It's no AI thing. Okay. Purify the 5 roots, attain the 5 powers. Okay. Now he's telling us how he got there. In order to become enlightened, you need to purify what he had to do himself in his training process, his journey. It was to purify the 5 roots and attain the 5 powers. Would you like to know what the 5 roots are? You're curious, right? The 5 roots are your eyes, your nose, your ears, your tongue, and your body. Use what you have. Why are they called roots? Roots are necessary for your growth. Without the roots, you cannot grow. Okay? In a worldly sense, your sense organs are the 5 roots because that's how we grow our knowledge. Yes? That's how we learn about the world. And you add one more root, the mind is root number 6. That's the 6 sense organs are the roots that we have. Okay? On the cultivation side, okay, the roots are faith, vigor, mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. This is what worldly people don't understand. When you take the spiritual path, you need the 5 roots of faith, vigor, mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. Those 5 roots are critical in your spiritual path. If you reach a level of enlightenment which is pretty desirable, okay, it's fantastic, if you will, then you definitely need those 5 roots of faith, okay, of vigor, mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. Okay, this is insider information. And once you have those 5 roots, and you perfect these 5 roots, they become your 5 powers. You have the power of faith, you have the power of vigor, you have the power of mindfulness, you have the power of samadhi, and you have the power of wisdom. And based on the fact that you have the root of faith, those powers grow from the root of vigor, from the root of mindfulness, from the root of samadhi, and the root of wisdom. So that the Chan training is designed to help you do that. Okay? What's the advantage? Why do we want to have the power of faith? You might be wondering, yeah? So he said, I believe you. Okay? A lot of people say that, Master, I believe you. You are my master. Okay? I say, oh, thank you so much. There's a donation box there. Okay? But eventually, you can talk all you want. But eventually, if that root of faith that you have, will eventually, you do it right, you practice properly, then it becomes a root as the power of faith. Why is it important? You have the power of faith in a triple jewel, okay? And then it will help you expel all the deviant beliefs. That's why faith is one of the most important root and power that you're supposed to have. Okay? The higher your level of attainment or samadhi, we measure in Chan, it's not talk. Chan is very precise. Your level of practice is measurable by your level's concentration, or we call it samadhi. Okay? And therefore, your level of samadhi depends on your level of faith. Okay? And the one thing is very dangerous and detrimental to your development, your progress, is your belief in deviant things. And amazingly, let me tell you, when I was in my master's system, my Chinese master's system, many of his disciples, although they were Buddhist monks and are disciples of this great Chan master called thichvinhhoausa, who is a patriarch in the Weiyang Chan lineage. And you know, amazingly, these monks still practice Taoist practices. They still do Taoist practices. Okay? Yeah. And they taught me some of those Taoist practices. And not surprisingly, they never got very far. Because if you engage in these practices, what does it do? It nurtures your faith in deviant stuff. And that gets in the way of your progress. It's a lot more damaging than people realize. They say, oh, I'm Buddhist, but deep down inside, you still believe in those things, okay? Those deviant things, then eventually it will catch up with you. They cannot get beyond it. I notice they level off. They never could get beyond it. Even my own disciples, they came to me and said, Master, I believe you. I'm your girl, okay, for life. I said, oh yeah, thank you so much. Okay, and they work very hard. They're very hard working. And then, let me share with you right now a little secret. I know that they have deviant beliefs, but I didn't say anything because it's their private life. We respect your privacy, okay? This is America, not China, okay? This is American Chan. There's a certain thing where when it comes to your own private life, that's where we stop. We don't go there, okay? Unless you ask. You want us to invade your privacy or not? Okay. But anyway, so this young lady there, she graduated. She graduated from non-Buddhist practices to Hinayana practices, and she encountered American Chan, American Weiyang, and she practiced very diligently, okay, and got to 2A. Second stage Arhat, which is very impressive. Most monks don't get to 2A, second stage Arhat. They usually get to 1A and they get stuck. Now they have to worry about fame and bigger temples because they have too many disciples. Contrary to me, I have today 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 people. Okay, and so at 2A, this is where your faith in deviant stuff will make you stumble. And sure enough, eventually she left. And she's not the only one. When I first came up here 20 years ago, I brought with me a woman who's Catholic. Huh? And I don't think you remember her. Tall one. Cute one. Okay? And she tagged along every single weekend with me. Okay? And she quickly improved. Okay? From zero samadhi to all the way to 2A, second stage arhat. I look at her and say, okay, you're done. And sure enough, she ran away. Because she has to face her faith. She has to choose, am I Catholic or am I Buddhist? And her loyalty lies with the church. Okay? This is true, folks. I'm sharing with you, this is what I observed throughout the last 20 years. This faith here, root here, is very, very critical. If you start off the wrong foot, you will not make it. Eventually, you stumble and you fall off. Okay. Free tip for you. Yes, DDT.
Master, you used to teach us that we also need to exercise more. So to exercise, I can go to a gym, I can hire a trainer, I can do yoga, or Taoists, they have a lot of physical exercise as well, purely for physical strength.
Yeah.
If we practice that, is that deviant practice or?
No. How long have you been practicing?
With who?
With that, that deviant practice stuff.
For physical strength, a few years on and off. But just for physical, like get more energy.
Okay. Hey, listen. We can separate your body from your mind. Okay? If you practice, like, for example, we're guilty of teaching yoga. Master XX, for example, when people have a hard time getting into full lotus, she would use some sort of yoga stuff. Yeah? That's deviant. So that's why our excuse is that as long as it's physical, it's not a big deal. So no, seriously. The root gun here, the root, the faith root here refers to your mind. It's not physical. So you can stretch, you can do Tai Chi, you can do yoga and so forth. Okay, Taekwondo. That's okay. It's no problem. Geez, this lady is so detailed. He said, tell me everything. Yes, Wei Mao.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for taking my questions. I must admit that before we came to the temples, I have been listening to one of my co-workers, my colleagues, and she teaching us kind of in Vietnamese. I don't know what's in English, but Vietnamese cúng giao thừa, cúng đưa ông táo về trời, and cúng tam tai. So
That's deviant.
So it's deviant things, so I stop it from now. So that's I ask for your instructions. Should I stop it?
Those are when you do the ceremonies to pray for the mountain spirits, the spirit of good wealth and so forth. It turns out, by the way, I went to Korea, and one of the big 3 temples, they invited me to attend a ceremony where they pray to the mountain spirits. Many monks, they do that. And the insider tip for you, I was taught that. A very kind monk looked at me, and I said, if you look at me, I have 3 temples, and you have nothing. Would you like me to teach you how I did it? And I said, yeah, please teach me. And he says, you need to pray to the spirits, guardians of the temple, and the wealth spirits. Okay? And I say, okay, that sounds good. Anything for money. So when you're poor, I mean, you're too desperate. What do you care? So I went along with him to when he did the ceremony. Okay, so he did the ceremony, and then it got to the point where I stood there, I watched everything, and then